set up here for you the shoulders. Okay, guys, so we're going to be talking the shoulder sleeper stretch, okay? A lot of people just hold the stretch and then they feel it all through the shoulder, and then they're hoping to, improve their shoulder flexibility or mobility or whatever with it. If you're doing any of the FRC system or FRS system stuff, and you're trying to improve your internal range of motion, okay, so as your arm is going down that way, first we have to see how much clean internal rotation we have. And positioning matters. So before you even begin cranking and stretching and stuff, let's make sure that you're setting yourself up properly. Getting these shoulders stacked on top of each other in order to minimize movement or minimize clever little compensations like letting your upper back rotate backwards, letting the shoulder rotate back, letting this guy pull out will improve how much you can go down. But I'm also like protracting or bringing my shoulder blade forward to allow this motion to happen. So number one thing is to make sure that you're in good position. So shoulders stacked. Number two, you actually don't want this arm all the way up here, okay? It can put too much strain on the front of the shoulder. That is not where you should be feeling this stretch, or when you're doing tails and rails or anything in this position. You shouldn't be feeling pain or anything in the front right here, okay? This is a shoulder rotator cuff and all of this back tissue stretch, okay? So if we see all this tissue in the back of our arm and we swivel our arm this way, all this tissue is going to lengthen and stretch. So we should be feeling our stretch through the back of the shoulder, okay? So we're going to set ourselves up, not bring this perpendicular, okay? Come down just a little bit. You can come down all the way here as long as you're still very disciplined about where you're feeling that sensation. That's all that really matters, okay? So I like to bring mine about halfway, so 45 degrees out from the horizontal. Then I'm going to actively internally rotate to see how much active internal rotation I have on my own. Now we're going to add in the stretch component, okay? And I feel this stretch through this back tissue as it comes along here, not in the front of my shoulder. Now, very important, something that gets skipped out a lot on the YouTube universities and Instagram university, is backing out of the stretch once you start feeling it. To not go into too much stuff, we're communicating with this tissue as soon as we put a tension or any sort of stretch on it. So once you start feeling that sensation of that stretch, don't lose it. Don't go deeper. Don't back out. Just hold it at that percentage, and then we'll work from there, okay? Now, the whole purpose of this video was, as I was doing my sleepers this morning, I realized one easy way that I try to circumnavigate the hard work is, so for the full process, we would bring this arm down, we would hold the stretch for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I would begin by taking a breath in, getting some nice tension through my body, starting to push this arm up into my top hand, trying to swivel it open this way into external rotation. This is the pales contraction. I'm contracting the lengthened tissue this way. However, a way that my brain was trying to trick myself to not doing this, I was actually just driving up this way, okay? So as opposed to this motion, I was doing this motion. Ultimately, this is not 100% wrong because you are getting contractions and tension through the similar tissue in the area, so you're going to get benefits even if you're doing that. But we want to be specific. That's the whole point of this type of exercise, is to be very specific with our rehab. And so if we're trying to improve this or this, we have to be using a rotation type squeeze in order to do it. So our pails, after we do our 2-minute stretch, our pails is not going to be trying to bring our whole arm this way. It's going to be purely rotating from the shoulder that way. And you're going to feel different muscles contract and activate. That's what you should hold. And so we would begin by slowly ramping up into that contraction. 10%, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, until I get to like my working number, whatever that is. Usually no more than 60, 70% in this position, period. Okay, it's a very vulnerable position for the shoulder, so there's no reason to go gung-ho 100%, let alone go from 0 to 100 really hard. Okay, so we're going to hold it. Once we reach our maximum, we're holding for another 10 seconds worth of hold. And then we're switching and trying to rotate from the shoulder down this way. We're not just like trying to bring this arm this way, okay? If this elbow slides, I'm going to be perceived to be coming down a little bit lower. I'm not really. I'm just letting this elbow slide. So if I hold the elbow here and purely rotate, I'm going to be limited a lot sooner, and I'm going to get a cleaner result. Okay, so the whole point of this video has been to just kind of keep in mind that to be specific when you're doing any pails and rails, but even more specifically when you're doing these internal rotations, sleeper stretch pails and rails. So once again, we're going to position ourselves really well, shoulders stacked, arm not out to horizontal, a little bit off. We're going to bring this guy down. We're going to feel that stretch in the back. We're going to hold it for 2 minutes. Slowly take a breath in, drive that arm up into an external rotation into the top arm. Hold for a total of 15. Switch to rails, trying to actively increase how much internal rotation I have. Hold for 15, relax, hold a stretch in the new position.